You've seen them, right? Those scary headlines about hidden toxins lurking in your food. It's enough to make you want to second guess everything you eat. But what's actually a real danger? And what's just fear-mongering? Today, we're going to slice through the noise and separate the facts from the fear. Let's get into it. So, could your kitchen pantry actually be a minefield? I mean, that question alone can cause some serious anxiety. Are the foods we think of as healthy secretly out to get us? The truth is, this isn't about being scared, it's about being smart. So, let's break down the facts. Here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle the warnings that are pretty cut and dry. Then we'll navigate those gray areas where, honestly, it's a little more complicated. We're even going to dive headfirst into the great brown rice debate. And to wrap it all up, we'll give you a simple playbook to make you feel way more confident in your kitchen. All right, let's start with the easy stuff, the warnings that are absolutely backed by solid science. In these cases, a little bit of knowledge in the kitchen makes all the difference in the world. First on the list, red kidney beans. If you've ever been told you can't eat them raw or undercooked, listen up, because that is 100% correct. They've got this potent toxin called phytohemagglutinin, and trust me, it can cause some really nasty stomach problems. But the fix is super simple. Just prepare them the right way. Soaking them and then boiling them completely destroys that toxin, making them perfectly safe to eat. This is a perfect example of how it's not about avoiding the food, but just understanding how to handle it. Okay, here's a classic one, but the science behind it is so important. Undercooked ground beef is a real risk. Why? Because the grinding process can take any bacteria from the surface and mix it all the way through the meat. So what's the secret to safety? It's all about one number, 160 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the internal temp you need to hit to kill off any harmful bacteria like E. coli. A simple meat thermometer is your best friend here. It takes away all the guesswork. Ever wonder why you were told not to eat potatoes that have turned green? Well, turns out your parents were right. That green color is a sign of something called solanine, a natural toxin the potato makes. And yeah, if you eat enough of it, it can definitely make you sick. But the solution here is really practical. You don't have to throw the whole potato out. Just carefully cut away any of the green spots or sprouts. Now, if the whole thing is mostly green, yeah, that's probably best to just toss that one. Okay, this next one sounds pretty terrifying. Is it true that swallowing cherry pits is dangerous? The verdict is correct. They contain a compound called amygdalin, which your body can actually convert into cyanide. I know, that sounds awful, but wait, there's some critical context you need. And here is that crucial context. That dangerous compound is locked inside a really hard shell, so if you accidentally swallow a pit whole, it's just going to pass right through your system without causing any problems. The real danger would be if you chewed or crushed the pits, so an accidental swallow is really no reason to panic. Okay, let's move out of the black and white and into the gray areas. These are the foods where a simple good or bad label just doesn't cut it. With these, it's all about the dose, the specific variety, and the preparation. Context is everything. Let's talk about nutmeg, that classic holiday spice. You might have seen some sensational article claiming it's toxic. And in a way, they're kind of right, but also very wrong. It all comes down to the amount. The amount of nutmeg you'd use in any normal recipe is perfectly fine, completely safe. The danger only comes into play when you're talking about consuming huge quantities, like multiple tablespoons at once. So go ahead, enjoy it in your baking without a second thought. The world of nuts can be so confusing, can't it? We buy bags of raw almonds and raw cashews all the time. So why are there all these warnings about eating certain raw nuts? Let's clear this up right now. It really starts with knowing your varieties. The almonds you snack on are called sweet almonds, and they are totally safe to eat raw. The warning is about bitter almonds, which are a different variety altogether. They contain that same amygdalin compound we saw in cherry pits and have to be specially processed to make them safe. And here's a fun fact for you. Those raw cashews you buy at the store, they aren't actually raw. They've been steamed to neutralize a toxin called urushiol, which is the very same compound found in poison ivy. It's just another great example of how a little bit of processing can make a food perfectly safe and delicious. All right, time for our final case study, and it's a big one: brown rice. On one hand, it's praised as a health food champion. On the other, it's been targeted with warnings about arsenic. So what is the real story here? This comparison really gets to the heart of it. Brown rice can have more arsenic, and that's because the arsenic concentrates in the outer layer, the bran. But here's the catch. That bran is also where all the good stuff is, like the fiber and nutrients. So what are you supposed to do? So should you just avoid brown rice? No, that's not the answer. The key is all in the preparation. Rinsing your rice thoroughly before you cook it and using plenty of water to cook it in can lower the arsenic levels significantly. That way, you get all the nutritional benefits without the worry. So, we've covered a ton of ground, from the really clear dangers to the much more complicated situations. Now, let's boil all of this down into a simple, actionable playbook you can start using in your own kitchen tonight. So, what's the playbook? It's simple. First, cook thoroughly, especially things like meat and beans. Second, prepare properly. Rinse that rice, peel those green potatoes. Third, remember that moderation is key. Fourth, know your varieties. Sweet almonds, not better. And finally, maybe the most important rule of all, when in doubt, throw it out. Trust your instincts. With these principles, you can approach your kitchen with a feeling of confidence, not fear. At the end of the day, knowledge is the ultimate antidote to anxiety. And it makes us wonder, what other common food wisdom is out there that we should investigate next?